Ashley from the Energy Boutique with your Energy and Ascension forecast for Sunday, March 26th to Saturday, April 1st. So last week, let's talk about it. Let's unpack. On the 19th, of course, we had Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, finally leave that Piscean energy, closing the door on his 13-month cycle to enter into Aries energy, the very first sign of the zodiac wheel, fire energy. Of course, our mental planes were all lit up. We were very aggressive in our thoughts, and of course, that was expressed in our communication as well. Everything that we were stunted on, that we had to bite our tongue on in Pisces season is now coming to the surface. Of course, it's very hard to use that filter, and we are essentially just kind of putting the blinders on and seeing where it is that we want to go from here, really looking for new ideas, new inspiration, new projects, new goals, new visions, and having a hard time with that, may I add, seeing as we kind of all expected a different situation to unfold with all of the energies this week. So Mercury was the first one to dip into that Aries energy on the 19th. On the 20th, of course, the sun followed suit, entered into this Aries energy, triggered the equinox, again, resetting the karmic scales, if you will. We had equal day to equal night, and now we are moving into the season and into the cycle where the light will be increasing. That is why we still don't have the clarity that we wanted. That is why we are still kind of dealing with the energy, the attitude of the old that we thought, many of us, was going to kind of shift overnight. Again, I tried to explain that energy doesn't work like that. It doesn't happen at the snap of the fingers. We move into the aspect that gets triggered, that gets activated, and then it naturally and organically unfolds from there. So for those of you expecting to actually wake up on the 20th feeling like a brand new person, feeling like a brand new reality is unfolding in front of you and very disappointed because nothing changed, well, I'm sorry that you set yourself up for that kind of disappointment. It's going to take a lot longer in order to actually see the change. A reminder, Aries energy changes the inner realm. It reignites the spark, the fire, the passion, the excitement. It's where inspiration and motivation come alive again. We don't see the actual energy manifest till we move into Taurus season. And of course, we are just in Aries season, so we have quite a few weeks for that energy to actually manifest and cultivate before we actually see it come into fruition in Taurus season. So that was the 20th. And then on the 21st, not even 24 hours after this equinox triggered a brand new solar calendar, we have the new moon taking place in Aries energy at 0 degree. Very, very karmic in nature. First time we had a 0 degree new moon in Aries in 19 years. So considering all of the other cycles at play where there's endings, closures, beginnings, and clean slates being initiated, this was a big one. And you may say, well, guess what? I was so exhausted, I didn't even have time to think about the new moon. I didn't have the ability to manifest anything because I wasn't even able to focus on the dreams and the visions because I was curled up in a ball. Well, guess what, my friends? That is the game. That is the strategy. These dark force agenda people that own this earth, they know about these events, and the energy pours in and paralyzes us physically and emotionally on the days where the energy is most potent and holds the most potential. So you really have to dig deep, and you have to be able to push through these physical and emotional mental challenges of the energy of the day in order to align with the energy that is being offered to you so that you're not missing an opportunity to set the tone for the next 2 years of your growth, of your evolvement, of your advancement. Not having the energy, not having the F's, not being able to get your mind right means that you allowed them to win. Okay, them meaning the darker forces within your egoic avatar to keep you paralyzed in a state of non-growth, non-evolvement. So for those of you that were successful in actually, aligning with the energies, hopefully you downloaded the new and improved moon guide. Thank you all so much for the feedback on that. Hopefully that assisted you in kind of seeing where it is that the distractions of the physical realm and the circumstances were definitely built up and triggering and activating to try and prevent you from aligning with that beautiful karmic energy of the new moon at a 0 degree. So that was a vibe all in itself. And then on the 23rd, of course, we made history with witnessing Pluto actually move into Aquarius energy. I don't know about y'all, but I was rendered pretty much useless on the 23rd. Could not function. So freaking tired I thought I was going to pass out, but yet can't sleep. That is a conundrum all in itself. There were many alerts coming in from the amount of solar winds, solar flares, CMEs popping off the sun. The Schumann Resonance was bang, bam, thank you, ma'am, all freaking day. And that is one of the reasons why many of us could not function. Now, keep in mind, we just had to kind of bring into a full completion, if you will, of all the Capricorn energy that we've been sitting in since 2008. And of course, we've been sitting at that 29th degree in that Capricorn energy for, I'm going to say, about a month. And that is why things have felt very heavy, very weighted. And for many of us, we had that full accumulation of the weight, of the heaviness, of the tough love life lessons, the residual effect of that, what it is that we've been dealing with since 2008, come into fruition in our physical bodies on the 23rd as we left that Capricorn energy away and we jumped into this brand new territory in Aquarian energy. So it is going to take some time. Pluto, again, the great transformer, does so through 3 very specific stages of action. Again, first, dismantling, destroying, destabilizing the systems, the structures, our environment, our circumstances that are not in alignment with the, I'm going to say, conscious collective's aim, goal, vision, dream. The second stage, which we won't be in for a very long freaking time, is bringing that darkness, that corruption into awareness. Once we're aware of it, once we illuminate it, once we show that darkness the light, then we can transform it. And that's what takes place in the 3rd and final chapter that, of course, we will not even touch upon for about 15 years from now. So it's going to be a long haul. Everybody very much questioning what it is that we're going to see collapse first. And of course, this is just continuation of Pluto's efforts in Capricorn energy since 2008 to dismantle, destabilize, destroy the capitalistic nature of our systems, of the foundations of the power exchange that, of course, hustle culture and, all this government, politics, banking, healthcare, all of those systems that are really supposed to be supporting the people that have essentially not done that at all. And that's why we've seen the exposure, the awareness, the corruption actually be illuminated into the light, transformed into something that now we can apply the Aquarian topics and themes to, which is rebellion, revolution, reformatting societal structures, where returning individual power, sovereignty back to the individual is the name of the game, where we move out of that capitalistic hustle culture and we start being a little bit more mindful with community heart-led projects that, of course, are going to advance humanity. There's a lot of different facets to what this Plutonian energy is going to do for us in this fixed air state of Aquarius, and we haven't even began to scratch the surface, so keep your helmet on for that one. And of course, Mars on the 25th, so it hasn't happened yet if you're listening to me Friday evening, we are moving into Cancer energy. And after 7 months of being in Gemini energy with a full-blown retrograde up in there as well, we'll be happy for the change, for the shift. But, Mars is not happy in Cancer energy. He essentially has to put his sword down. And his sword, his weapon of choice, is his intuition and his instincts. And that doesn't sound all too bad, except for the Cancer energy is so attached to traditional beliefs and set in stone of trying to keep the old, the past alive. And here we are trying to create new in a new year, in a new territory, in a new age. And so, if you listen to the astro forecast, you would know that it's not going to be from point A to point B. It's going to be a lot of highs and lows and detours and ups and downs. And there's likely going to be a lot of moods, a lot of attitudes that we're all floating in. There's going to be a lot of focus on where it is that we have to kind of nurture ourselves back to a place of health and wellness. And that is no easy task, especially seeing how we've been all cluster effed up in the intellectual battlefield for the last 7 months. Haven't really accomplished much, if we're being honest. We were just so overloaded with information and choice that we couldn't decide on one path, one decision, one direction. That's half the reason why we're still lacking this amount of clarity. And now it's not that we're gaining clarity, it's now that we're taking the little bit of clarity that we have and we're moving into the heart space. We're testing our emotions and how it is that we feel about it, and only taking action on the things that feel like we need to take action on. So that's a whole mood all in itself. So what do we got going on this week, you may ask? Well, it is the last week of March. My goodness, that went very fast, if I do say so myself. I feel like I'm living in Groundhog Day, where every day I wake up, it's Friday, and I got to do live chat. And I apologize if you feel the unenthusiastic, lack of inspiration, lack of motivation in my voice in these lives as of late. I am absolutely exhausted and disoriented and just trying to do what everybody else is doing, which is drag your ass out of bed and get through the day. And sometimes I even question how I can be motivational and inspirational when I'm feeling none of those things. And what I realized is that just the act of perseverance alone, continuing to do what you got to do in order to get it done, regardless of the mood, regardless of the want, need, and desire to do so, that is the true strength of really pushing through when the last thing you want to do is push anything. So, we're all kind of in this together. I know I'm not the only one just, with no F's to give and no energy and no enthusiasm and no inspiration, no motivation. I know I'm not the only one. We're going to get there. Okay. Trust that. That is about the only inspirational thing that I can say to you right now is trust the process. Okay. We got a lot going on. Like I've been mentioning for God knows how long now, this is the busiest week and the busiest month in literally all year. And I would even go to say that if we're looking at a 5-year chunk this week that we're just maneuvering through and navigating through, probably the busiest week in the cosmos, in the busiest month in the cosmos, in the busiest year of the cosmos in this 5-year cycle. Okay, so just the fact that we're still alive, that we're pushing through it, that's a great thing. That's a great feature. We will be wrapping up March, which I think is a good thing. Let's get this party started. We will be kind of moving into April, especially, this forecast takes us into April 1st, April Fool's Day. I'll have a whole little rant on that, I'm sure, next week, talking about April Fool's Day and the significance behind what that day actually is. But realistically, all we got going on this week is that we're building towards the first quarter moon, and that will be taking place on the 28th, and it is taking place in Cancer energy. And may I remind you that the first quarter moon that we're building into means that we got to go back to that new moon in Aries, where we had no light, no idea, no details, no illumination. We're slowly growing in illumination. And by the time we get to that first quarter moon, we're going to have enough information and details to really put ourselves in a situation to take action, realize the obstacles, realize the challenges, realize the struggles, and figure out what we want to do about it. And of course, in Cancer energy, the moon is in its rulership in Cancer energy. So any kind of moon event in Cancer energy is going to be a double doozy. And Cancer energy is a water sign. So we're looking to have an emotional transformation of some sort. We are looking to address where it is that safety, security, stability needs to happen, where it is that it isn't happening, where it is that we are maybe distracting ourselves from doing our own work by trying to take care and nurture other people. And, the whole put the mask on when your plane is going down thing, put your mask on first. That's a whole vibe when it comes to Cancer energy. But basically, Cancer energy wants us to take a good look at the foundation that we need to have put in place, especially emotionally, especially in our home life, especially with our family dynamics, before we go on and start adding, big projects, big goals, big dreams, big visions to our life. There is no point in trying to push yourself and advance in the world to get to a place of success for your home, for your family life, when your family isn't even being addressed at the beginning, okay? If we haven't learned anything by now, the family that we create in this world is our support system. It is our rock. It is the foundation of who it is that we are and why it is that we do what we do. And there is no point going out in the world, busting your ass and fighting all the wars in order to reach your goals and reach your dreams for your family if you're not putting the time and effort into stabilizing the family and stabilizing the home and stabilizing those relationships in the here and now. Okay, the dream that you have, the vision that you have may never come to pass. And I don't mean that as a Debbie Downer. I mean it as a realist as far as looking at potential goes. What you do have is the here and now. What you do have are the people that you consider to be worthy enough for your time, your energy, your love, your attention, your presence. So concentrate on what it is that you can stabilize now, what you can better now, what you can strengthen now, in hopes that taking care of the smaller details now will just provide you that much more support as you go ahead and you set your sights on the greater, grander picture. So that's this week in a nutshell. And honestly, I'm kind of happy that those are very minimal aspects that are taken on, because my goodness, guys, we need a little bit of time to chill, a little bit of time to adjust here. Also, let me just point out, Tuesday is going to be one busy freaking day. Okay, there are 14 different aspects going on, and it is going to be quite a transition that day. And let me also just say that we have some aspects building that is going to make Tuesday being a very important day. And let's just remind ourselves that Tuesday is ruled over by Mars, and Mars is in his rulership over the season. He might not be in his own rulership because of his placement in Cancer, but he rules over Aries energy. So all the Aries energy is giving him power. And Mars, being the ruler of Tuesdays, if you step back and take a good look at your work week, you'll probably get more shit done on a Tuesday than you would combining the other days as a whole. And that is because Mars rules over action. And so we have to be prepared for this Tuesday, because there's going to be a lot of energies coming at us. We have an aspect between Mercury and Jupiter that's going to provide us with a whole bunch of puzzle pieces for us to snap together to kind of gain a bigger, broader vision, bigger, broader dream, kind of bump up our optimism, our enthusiasm. Once again, we are seeing the long-term plan here come together. There are going to be some missing details. That is, should be expected, but nonetheless, Tuesday is going to be a banger of a day, so plan for that. Another interesting thing that I've seen mapping out this week, March 31st, that's a Friday. There's only 4 aspects taking place. I can't even begin to tell you when is the last time we only seen 4 different aspects take place in a day. And all 4 of them involve the moon. And the moon is going to be in Leo energy at that particular time, so we're hard aligned. And it's just amazing to me that we can go and have like one overwhelming energetic day, which I'm referring to as Tuesday with 14 different aspects. And then like just a couple of days later, 4 different aspects. Blows my mind. I love seeing patterns like that. So that's just a mind blower for me. Anyways, this week we need a little bit of time to adjust. And of course, we will be dipping into April's energy super quick. So of course, you can expect April energy forecasts coming at you towards the end of next week. I have a lot to do. My goodness, I am looking at my week ahead of all that I have to do with this level of energy, or should I say lack of energy. I have no clue how I'm going to do it. One of those amazing procrastinating situations again, where you're just down to the nitty gritty every single time, wondering how you're going to pull it off. And then somehow I pull it off. Every month I do this to myself. The end of the month is absolute torture for me. And I do this to myself, and I do it every month, and I have no clue how I do it. And then I do it, and then I'm shocked that I do it. And then I try to prepare for next month so that I don't have to do this again, but yet I find myself in the same situation, in the same spot. Can you relate? Anywho, let's cover a couple of homework aspects before I jump into the Ascension symptoms for this week. First of all, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for liking, for sharing, for commenting, especially over this past week. I know I ranted a little bit last week about how low my numbers are and how low my engagement is. And I had a couple of people just remind me, and thank you for the reminders, that, might be missing out on some people and that might not be seeing people show up in the chat, but they're still behind the curtain. And that I truly 100% don't ever mistake in this. I totally appreciate every single one of you who show up for me, who do the likes, who do the comments, who do the sharing. I appreciate that so much. And by no means am I ever trying to take away from the importance of your position here in this community by complaining about the people that don't show up. I know different. And I know this platform is out to get me. And I thank you so much for those of you that have jumped over to my Patreon. I know most of you that are joining my Patreon at this time are going over there for one of two things. The Astro class that I just launched, which, I was expecting a little bit more feedback from. I was expecting a little bit more engagement from, just because so many people have been waiting so long for me to start doing Astro classes. And then I launched them and not necessarily seeing the kind of, feedback that I was hoping for. But hopefully y'all going to want to jump in and catch up at some point. Hopefully that hits home somewhere. So I know everybody's busy and distracted at this point. And then the other thing is people jump over to my Patreon for the discounts, the discount codes on some of the products. And you may or may not know about the new Aries season e-guide that I put out that's, designed to help navigate the season ahead. Y'all took a vote on that at the beginning of the year, whether I should be spending my time and putting my energy into creating these resources. And everybody overwhelmingly said, oh, yes, no, we would definitely like that. And so I busted my ass and I brought them out. And by no means am I unappreciative of those of you that have gone ahead and actually gotten your Aries e-guide downloaded and ready to go. But I, again, a little disappointed. Was expecting a lot more feedback, a lot more eagerness, a lot more people downloading those particular things. And, I try to keep it priced appropriately so that I'm not working for nothing. However, if the $11, and again, people, this is Canadian money. So most of y'all out there realize that Canadian money is garbage, and that y'all are getting a major discount just at the fact that I have Canadian prices, period. Your dollar's worth a lot more than my Canadian dollar is. But if you're still finding that the price is too much for you, here's a treat. Go to my website, get that Aries e-guide in your cart, and at checkout, put in Aries 23 VIP and get yourself 50% off, okay? That is the best start that I can give you to this year. I know we're struggling. I know we're, trying very hard to pick up the momentum here, guys. I know it's hard, but hopefully those e-guides, the workbooks, the resources that I put out there help you kind of define the path, the direction that you're looking to go. And of course, identify what it is that's gunking the lens and preventing you from actually moving forward. And, I'm hoping that maybe I get a little bit more people on this healing journey, on this personal development train. And, if you've been sitting on the fence whether or not you want to spend that $11, hopefully that discount code will push you over the edge and at least get you in alignment for this very first season of a very, very long zodiac wheel. And again, like I mentioned, thank you to those who already downloaded the new and improved mood guide. Thank you for your feedback on that. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the new format, the new graphics. It's in some places it could almost be considered a coloring book for those of you that need that kind of therapeutic activity as well. There's a lot going on in those moon guides. And so I want to thank you so much for your love and support in downloading them as well. And of course, for the commitment to invest in yourself. So thank you all the way around. Okay, let's jump into some ascension symptoms. And I again apologize because a lot of these are very repetitive. They're going to be repetitive. We're on a new level of enlightenment, of awareness, of ascension, basically. And that doesn't mean that there's going to be new symptoms. It means that there's going to be new levels to the symptoms that we've already experienced very alive and very well. So the exhaustion, let's talk about this exhaustion. It's weird, eh? Like when we were in Pisces season, of course, we were all exhausted, super sleepy, could barely move, felt like we were 500 pounds running underwater. But this is a different kind of exhaustion, and it's kind of funny because our inner realms are just ablaze and we're jumping all over the place, scatterbrained all as hell. There's a fire burning in there, just creating anxiety and restlessness that we don't know what to do with. We have no channel, we have no outlet, but yet we are exhausted. Like, how can our inner realms be so revved up that it's kind of paying off the red line, if you will, but yet we don't have an ounce of physical energy, an ounce of inspiration, an ounce of motivation, an ounce of F's to actually give? And we're so sleepy. We wake up tired. We go through the whole day tired as F. Can't wait to go to bed. Can any of us sleep proper? No. Is anybody having like actual okay dreams at this point? No. Is everything just cluster F right to the nines? Yes. My goodness. The dreamscapes are weird as F. And I don't, even when we're sleeping, we're not really sleeping. We're not reaching those deep levels of rest and recovery like our physical bodies need. And so we're waking up already exhausted and we're just fighting through this day. And of course, we're in Aries season with all of this fire energy that just has us on edge, irritated as F, frustrated as F. We can throw a tantrum at any point. That's the positive of Aries energy, is that we can absolutely be a 2-year-old and throw a tantrum and then be over it just as quick. And it's exhausting, but we keep on doing it. And we're all revved up. We're all dressed up. There's nowheres to go. And we're just sitting here and we're just letting those internal fire, those internal flames just to burn. And it's burning us up from the inside out, I would say, because we're lacking focus. We're lacking direction. We're lacking clarity. And again, like I mentioned, so many people reached out to me over this week saying, nothing's changed. I actually feel worse. And, you know, I was really hoping for a shift and can't wait for the changes and the clarity. And I'm like, people, why do you think that it's, you know, going to happen overnight? I don't understand why people don't understand. It's a natural, organic unfolding of the energies, right? So we get a trigger, we get an activation, we have a direct aspect that kind of turns the light bulb on, right? It gets the song playing, if you will, but we don't just jump into the next song. You have to let the song play out, right? You gotta wait a little bit until the song peaks, until you really get into the highest peak of the jam. We ain't there yet. We're just dipping our toe in this fire energy. And again, being in the most craziest chaotic week of the most craziest and chaotic month of this year, like, we really have to tone it down a notch, okay? And I mean that in the funniest way possible, because there is no toning down anything in Aries energy. It's all about energy management. We fail that energy management lesson every freaking time. So like I mentioned, though, this week we will have an aspect between Mercury and Jupiter, which is going to show us the bigger, broader picture. We're getting some puzzle pieces, so be patient. That's the biggest thing, right? There's no patience, especially in Aries energy. There's no patience. We want everything yesterday. And this is another problem. We literally think that we're going to go from point A to point B. That's not how it works. Point A to point B has different levels of A-isms before we get to B. You know, there's like A.0, and then there's A.2 and A.5. And then guess what? There's a detour over here, and we have to sit at A.7. Then we have to go back to A.4. Let's take another detour. It's going to take a while before we get to point B. And again, not understanding the elemental energy profile of the zodiac wheel is where people are getting messed up. I have a mini course on it. I talk about elemental energy every freaking day. If you do not understand what I'm talking about, please take the mini course. This is essentially who it is that you are. You have your own elemental energy profile. That little box that I put up every day on the daily energy forecast, where it's all like, looks like hieroglyphics and there's different colors there. That's the elemental energy profile of the day. So you have to know your elemental energy profile to see how the elemental energy profile of the day is going to affect you. And people just don't understand that fire energy, we're currently sitting in fire energy. Fire energy is the spark that needs to kind of be reignited, needs to be cultivated and nurtured within in order for us to pick a passion, pick an excitement, pick a path, pick a direction, in order for us to go ahead and extend the energy and efforts needed in order to actually bring something to life. Life doesn't happen until we enter into an earth energy, right? Earth energy is matter. Fire energy is the spark, is the fire, is the inspiration, the motivation. It's the inner realm situation that we need to be in order to be passionate enough, excited enough to actually go out, get our hands dirty to bring new things to life, to create something new. The actual physical manifestation of the energies that we're just activating now will not be seen, not even be indicated, not even be a thing until we enter into an earth season, which is Taurus season. And even then, we just start building the very cornerstone foundation of what it is that we're bringing to life. Okay, it's a whole thing. It's the zodiac wheel is the evolution of progress as we manifest, as it is equally the evolution of our self, our soul space, our potential. We are just in the very first, I'm going to say, stage of the video game where we're trying to kind of guess where it is that this video game is going to take us, where we have to pick a path, right? This is a choose your own adventure video game. And right now, we're trying to figure out what it is that we want this video game to actually give us the experiences of. The foundation of those realizations will be manifested in Taurus season. We're not there yet. So this is another reason why I think people are confused, why they are disappointed, why they're frustrated, why they're exhausted, because they literally thought that the snap of the fingers, the minute that we woke up on the 20th, it was going to be like, day one of the rest of your life. It was, essentially, energetically speaking. But people are too stuck in this physical realm, thinking that the physical manifestation was going to be there overnight. And I don't know when y'all are going to learn this isn't a physical journey. This is an energetic journey. We have to learn how to manipulate energy in order to see that physical circumstance actually manifest. That's what manifesting is all about. Anyways, there's a lot of disappointment there. And you know what? The moodiness, the attitude, the sookiness, the complaining, the whiningness, if you will, is only going to increase when Mars moves into Cancer. Oh my goodness. I can't even tell you. Okay, think of a warrior, because that's what Mars is. He's the god of war. Think of a warrior all decked out in his armor, holding his, prize sword. And then all of a sudden somebody takes his sword away and gives him his heart, his feelings. Okay, a warrior's going to look at his feelings and be like, what the F am I supposed to do with this? I've been programmed to identify what it is that I want, what's standing in the way of that. I slash my sword. I kill whatever's standing in my way. I aggress myself forward to get what I want. That's Mars's whole jam. But he's in Cancer energy. Cancer energy is emotional and sensitive and intuitive and defensive and protective. And instead of creating, we're more concerned with holding on to what it is that we've actually already created. And so that's why he's not in his greatest place. That's why we're not going to achieve much. But I went on a little bit of a rant. Can't remember what day it was because I don't even know what day it is now. Time literally is elusive to me. But I went on a little bit of a rant about how, again, people miss the evolution of the zodiac wheel. What comes after Cancer energy? Leo energy. What is Leo energy? Well, it's the heart and soul of the zodiac. It's a fire energy. It makes us boss up. It makes us bold, brave, courageous to go after what it is that we want, what it is that our heart is asking us to pursue. That is where we stand out. That is when we step in the spotlight. That is when we're not afraid to say or do whatever it is we need to say or do in order to get to our end goal. That's when Mars will advance himself quite quickly due to passion, due to excitement, due to listening to his heart space. What he has to do in Cancer energy before we get there is unpack all of the crap that we should have unpacked it. That we should have unpacked back in Pisces season. Why didn't we, you may say? Well, because we were stuck in the mental plane. Why is that, you may say? Well, because Mars had to go through this whole, discerning true and false information about himself. We are essentially Mars, again, ruler over our physical energy, our passion, our desire, rules over Aries energy, which is the first sign of the zodiac that helps us develop our personal egoic identity. Right now, we're in a rebranding, re-identification stage. We're a little bit slow to the game. Cancer energy is going to illuminate for us what it is that we're holding on so desperately to of the past that we couldn't imagine, clearing up any space for us to be excited and passionate about new elements of the future. Why? Because we're so concerned with holding on to what it is that we've already created. There's a lot of fear of loss in Cancer energy. That's why we're all whiny and complaining. And we're definitely going to see our attitude, our moods change dramatically. Tantrums will be at an all-time high. You want to mix, okay, Aries energy with Cancer energy. Oh my freaking goodness. Talk about the tantrums. You want to talk about Mars, who rules over the Aries energy in Cancer energy. Talk about tantrums. Wow. The good thing is that the tantrums that we're going to have, the emotional outbursts that we're going to have, is going to help us release some of the pain and trauma that is stored in our cellular memory, very connected to the generational trauma that we're trying to break chains with right now. Mars in Cancer will be good for that. But it is going to be a little bit of a wish-washy time, especially emotionally and mood speaking. So we can expect a lot of head pressure, which we've been experiencing. I don't know about y'all, but those influx of energies that the Schumann Resonance recorded did an absolute number on my head. We have headaches, we have head pain, we have headache worms. What do I mean by that? Moving headaches, right? Naturally, a headache isn't supposed to move. It's supposed to be a cluster point of tension in your head where inflammation is kind of built up. And when you have a moving headache, that's a good indicator that it's energy related, because we're trying to kind of release the blockages of the tension that is built up in our headspace. We have to consider the fact that all the Aries energy, especially Mercury, ruler of the mental plane over the headspace in Aries energy, Aries energy rules over the head. It is the ram, right? So we're ramming things head on. We're bumping our heads against walls. We're bumping our heads against other people. There's a lot of pressure in there because we're trying to align our mind space to what it is that we want to pursue. We're having a hard time doing that. There's a lack of clarity. They're really cluster effing our ability to do so and see so. And that tension comes down into our jaw. Going to ask you, are you grinding your teeth? Are you clenching your jaw space? You might actually have to get into a practice over the next week of being mindful, maybe even setting a timer once an hour to unclench your jaw, to put the tongue to the top of the mouth, to breathe through the nose, 10 full breaths, calm yourself, relax your jaw, get the tension out of your head space. We're going to have a lot of tension up there. Now, again, there's a lot of confusion. What happens about confusion? Well, we have to have confusion before we gain clarity. What confusion are we having? Well, where am I? Who am I? What is this? What are we doing? Where are we going? What now? When's it going to end? When are we going to get there? What does that sound like? It sounds like kids in the back seat when you're on vacation, you're driving. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Well, guess what? We are children in the back seat right now. We're in Aries energy. It is the infant stage of the evolution of our soul self. And we are going through a re-identification, a rebranding period right now. So we don't know who we are. We know who we've been. We don't know who we're going to be, but we don't know who we are right now. It's hard. There's too many things changing on an energetic, spiritual level for us to be the same person that we were a week ago. However, circumstances really haven't changed in our physical realms. How could we be any different? Well, because we're changing every freaking day. With every energy blast, with every energy shift, we are changing our consciousness, we're changing our awareness, we're changing our frequency and vibration. So what I will say to you is that we create half the problems that we're currently experiencing. So I invite you to just be. Be whoever it is you are in this moment. Wherever you are in this environment, just be in it. Stop questioning everything. I am absolutely, I understand the quest of asking existential questions, but I'm also kind of against it because it's really taking away from the experience that we're supposed to be having in this present moment, right? Everybody, especially now, wants to talk about conspiracy theories and are the aliens coming and is Jesus coming back, and let's dive into religion. Let's debate all about that and what is God and what is Jesus and who is right and who is wrong, and devil worship and Satanism and Luciferianism and the elitists and the conspiracy theories and the banking system. And it's all too much. Who really cares? And I mean that in the nicest way. At the end of the day, we're all going to die. We're all going to go back to source. We're all going to have a good laugh about how consumed we were over these stupid storylines that literally have no difference on us whatsoever. Now, debatable, because I will say that, of course, we have to have these conversations and we have to bring a certain level of awareness into the conscious collective in order for us to create a reality that is based off of the illumination of the consciousness evolutionary process of our soul. However, I think many of us take it too far. We think too much. We don't be too much, right? We need to just be. I have a beautiful supporter out there. I'm not going to call you out because I think that's kind of rude. But you're going to know who you are. Made the comment that they just realized not too long ago that they have forever. They have forever to figure it out, to experience it, to sort it all out, to think about it. So when you know that you have forever, then why not just choose to be? Be present. Be in the moment. Be in the state of confusion that you're currently at without looking for solutions, for answers. Everybody thinks that we need to be in this state of perfect happiness and harmonization. That's probably not going to happen, and I don't mean to be rude and negative in saying that, but the goal here is not to find happiness and peace and balance and live in that. We have that. That's where our souls come from. That's why we opted to come to Earth School, because our eternal experience gets boring when it's the same old forever in unconditional love. Okay, we come here to be messy. We come here for the experience. We come here to try to achieve happiness, balance, peace, and harmony, but we're not supposed to actually find homeostasis in it. Okay, we're just supposed to seek it and create it in every single moment, regardless of whether or not we're satisfied with the outcome. Doesn't matter. The outcome is right now. The outcome that was yesterday was in the moment of now, yesterday, right? So there is only an opportunity to be the best you can be in this moment. So just be. Who cares who you are? Who cares where you're at? Who cares what you're going to do? When you can divide your time, energy, and attention to understand that there should only be a small segment of your day lent to the projection of what it is that you want to do in the future, while the majority of energy should be spent anchoring in, growing, strengthening, supporting your choices in the here and now, then you're not living in a state of wonderment, of trying to always have the answers figured out. What is the next thing, right? There's this very interesting debate on whether or not we should evolve at all. To be in a particular point and think that this particular point is not the point that we should be at is denying the perfection of creation that we're currently standing in. And I know our goal is to grow and evolve, but if we could grow and evolve in a naturally and organic way without adding the pressure, the tension, the fear that comes with trying to figure it all out, then we would be much further ahead than we actually are now. Too many of us get stuck in the mental plane and intellectualize and compartmentalize the who, the ifs, the ands, the buts, the when, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, all that kind of stuff, and not present enough in this present moment to see how our energy and actions previously landed us in this particular point in time. And we don't spend enough time in this particular point, appreciating this particular point, and our energy and efforts and how it is that we got here, because we're always looking to the next thing. We're always looking for the next betterment, the next improvement, the next challenge, the next dream, the next goal. And again, the answer here is always balance. So sit in the confusion, accept the confusion. You have forever to figure it out. It's not a big deal. If you die tomorrow, you're going to have more answers than you'll ever find in this lifetime anyways. Death is not the end, okay? I don't know how else to put it. You have forever. You are an eternal soul and spirit. You have forever to answer Earth School's answers and questions, okay? So let's just work a little bit harder on just accepting this present moment and having the attitude of gratitude for just being in the here and now. Okay, so back to some physical things. How y'all ears doing? Ears are itchy. We got that brain itch going on again. Yes, I know ears are popping and clicking and sounds and sirens. And again, that's just a recalibration of our sensory system going on in our physical body here. But that itch inside of our brains, in our ears, that we just can't itch, is getting to be too much. And, back of our throat. I want to talk about the mouth for a second, just because Mercury is in Aries there. You might be finding that there's like little canker sores inside your mouth, or that you're biting your tongue literally. You cut your lips are burning. There's a lot of tension again, jaw friction, fire energy in that mouth. I just want to say, like, the thirst is not being quenched at this time. We have too much fire energy going on for us to feel satisfied with the liquids that we're ingesting. Ingesting anything hasn't been pleasant as of late anyways. Our digestive system, because of the solar plexus upgrades, have just been tortured. A lot of gas, a lot of acid reflux, a lot of cravings. Oh, I want to talk about this. So the confusion part, do you notice how the confusion part just leaks over into every facet of your life? Like, literally, like, I don't know what I want to eat. I don't know what I want to drink. I don't know what I want to wear. I don't know where I want to go. I don't know what I want to do, right? Like, this is the topic and this is the theme. And the cravings are hard because many of us are stomach sick and nauseated anyways. And like I'm sitting here, I have a whole house filled with food. I don't want any of it. I don't even know what I want outside of this house. I don't know what I want. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going to kind of, quench my craving, if you will. And that is just the state that we're currently in. So, I do spend a lot of time just staring out a window, trying to figure out what my physical body is actually asking for as far as its dietary wants, needs, and desires. And I don't know, it's not speaking very clearly as of late. We do have Venus in Taurus energy, which does kind of enhance our physical senses, if you will. We should be gauging what we want, need, and desire through the emotional and physical reactions that we're getting through our body. But as far as food goes, food is a very, very weird topic as of late. Anything that we're putting in our inside of ourselves, fluid or food at this point, just doesn't seem to be doing it. Doesn't seem to be copacetic in there. And I just know the pain underneath the ribs of the solar plexus going through its recalibration just has been absolutely awful. The sacral plexus, of course, there's a lot of discomfort down there. So keep in mind that our sacral chakra rules over creation. That's why it rules over the reproductive and sex organs, right? Because what better way to create than literally to create life? But even passion and creativity and like your creative energy gets stored in the sacral. And there's a lot of discomfort there because we don't know what we want to create. Confusion's too much. So we're having, lower back problems, and we're having dysfunction in our, let's call it, reproductive system. We're having a lot of bloating, a lot of just heaviness felt in that particular area. And that's because we have all of this fire energy that wants to create, but we don't have an outlet. We don't have a channel. We don't have a path. We don't have a direction on what that creation actually wants to be. And so it just like pings around like a pinball machine in there, bounces around, And of course, doesn't lead us to any kind of clarity, but we sure as hell feel it in our physical body, in our physical form. The time, we kind of talked about this, time is just a speeding. Now, many moons ago, I talked about how we were moving into an accelerated manifestation state and an accelerated window of time. And I think I talked about that in Pisces season when the days were long and the nights were even longer. And it didn't seem like we had enough time. Yet we know that time has been manipulated and we're actually losing time. And time is so elusive anyways that it's just adding to this overall confusing state that we're in. But time is going to accelerate. Time is getting faster and faster, and we're not gifted with the same amount of hours that our days were naturally created over. And, with all the wackiness going on in the world and the manipulation of, our weather and our skies and the news events and everything else, why wouldn't time be manipulated as well? But that's also adding to the confusion. And so we have to push against, the motives, the outcomes, the goals of this darker agenda to keep us in a state of confusion, because a state of confusion means that you're low on F's and that you're unmotivated and uninspired. So therefore you don't take action, you don't grow, you don't change, you don't evolve. And there's no awareness, no enlightenment that comes out of that pattern and behavior. And that's exactly what they want from us. So what better way to mess with everyone than to mess with time, to mess with the sunlight, to mess with weather, to mess with the air. They got everything on lock. We're being messed with from every path, every way, every direction possible. And they're doing a good job of keeping the bulk of the collective in a state of chaos. The last thing that I think I want to address is the changings of our eyes. Our lenses are changing. We're seeing things differently. Now, I want to talk about the crustiness. I don't just mean sleep in your eyes when you wake up. I mean all day crusties appearing in your eyes. And for those of you out there that wear eye makeup, those eye gunkies, I don't even know what we're going to do with those eye gunkies. More concentrated than normal. And there is a lot of I'm going to say, change in the lubrication of our eyes. And yes, of course, our visuals are changing as well, with floaties, with orbs, with flashes, with streams of light. All of those are just the natural signs and symptoms that we would expect with our sensory system going through a recalibration anyways. But physically speaking, I feel like we're all going to be rubbing our eyes, picking the things out of our eyes, trying to keep our eyes crusty free is going to be a hard go this week. And a lot of that, just remember that when we're having signs and symptoms with our eyes, it's because we're not happy with what it is that we see. And it's because there's a different layer of what we should be seeing behind the things that we're actually seeing that we're not allowed to see yet. And so there is this disorientation, this attention drawn to our physical eyes in order for us to address the physical gunk in our eyes, remove those blockages so that we can use our quote unquote energetic eyes to see past the physical blockages that are preventing us from seeing clearly. So that is this week in a nutshell. It is definitely going to be a week of refinement, a week of recalibration, a week of just trying to piece together all that has taken place this past week, which may not feel like anything in your physical realm, but energetically speaking, I think that you would have a different opinion and a different perspective. And my goodness, the wheels are just a spinning. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, for being here, for sharing in with this just lovely experience that we're all going through. Of course, I hope you have a beautiful week, and I send you nothing but love. We'll talk to you soon.